What's going on, y'all? Jordan, another episode of Lightning Latest. We got a double barrel action we got to cover from this weekend. Kind of a weird weekend, to be honest with you, but we're going to go ahead and kind of dive into both matchups. Also, double barrel what if, because y'all know that's how we roll on these kind of days. Double barrel what if for double barrel game action. So, we're going to talk about both the Panthers game and the Canucks game. So, it happens you have a back to back, as well as the performances in each, and what is from both teams. Sorry, players on both teams. So, yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into this. The first one, Saturday went great. We beat the Panthers down in Sunrise. We won 3-1. Improved to 6-2. Sorry. On the season, including 5-2-2 on the road, so not too bad at all. We were tied at 1 entering the third period, but Jack Finley's first NHL goal was the game winner. It put us up 2-1. It was a lead we would never relinquish. Emil Lilleberg opened the scoring with his second goal of the season during the first period, while Brad Marchand scored his 12th of the season on a power play for the Panthers. So, had a pretty good PK for most of the year. Over these last two games has been a little up and down. You'll see that with both the Panthers matchup and the Canucks matchup we'll talk about here shortly. In all honesty, that PK needs to kind of get back to where it's been. And Jeff Halpern, the assistant coach, they usually runs that in the power play. I'm interested to see how we're gonna, kind of get back to where we should be, rather than the kind of up and down nature we've been playing on these special teams so far. Philly's first goal was a game winner, like I said, and Zemgus Girgensson scored his 4th goal of the season on an empty net opportunity with less than a minute left. That kind of sealed the deal at 3-1. Vasi, pretty good game. He rebounded from a nightmare start in that 7-3 loss to the Rangers a few days ago. Stopped 22 shots for a .957 save percentage. That's what you want to see out of your number one, right? If he has a really rough off night, just comes back and plays a gem. He only allowed 1 goal, so we'll take it all night. Bolt's assists included Scott Saborn's first NHL assist on the Finley score, and Douglas had his second on the other opportunity as well. So good for both of those young guns, because we need all the help we can get with all these injuries we're dealing with. So Cooch had his 8th assist. Yanni had his 3rd as well. The Bolts are missing 7 players in this win, right? So they were missing Anthony Cirelli, Brandon Hagel, Pontus Holmberg, Dominic James, Nick Paul, Victor Hedman, Ryan McDonough. A lot of contributors that can really, that have helped during this recent hot streak we've had in the last couple weeks. So losing those kind of guys in a playoff caliber matchup like this, and still coming out with a win, that's what you want to see. That's stuff what you want to see. This is a real gritty win. We will take it all day. That's how it happened against the Canucks. I feel like for me it makes it worth it, but still, we'll dive into that Canucks game shortly. Finley scored his first NHL goal on Bob, which is kind of cool. He actually said this about it post game. He said it feels good. He's a great goalie. He played great tonight. Both goalies played good and gave both teams a good chance. If it just feels good to get one. So, we were talking a few days ago how Jack Finley needed some more chances. Well, injuries have opened the door, and now he's getting a chance to contribute, and he's playing pretty decently. A lot of these young players are really stepping up and playing smart, dependable hockey, and that's what we want to see. Even though a lot of them will likely lose this playing time once players like Cirelli and Nick Paul come back, seeing that they can contribute now is good. Coop also talks about the depth post-game. He said, you're not going to get by with 21, 22 guys all year, and our depth has helped us. It definitely helped us tonight. He talked about Jacob Pelletier. He landed at midnight on Friday evening, and he played for the Bolts against the Panthers. Just to go right back to Syracuse yesterday. So, Tkachuk also played huge on the penalty, according to the penalty kill, according to Coop. We really need these young guys to continue to step up and play well. And honestly, it hasn't really been them that's caused the up and down nature these last few games. It's been the vets that have been underperforming and then deciding to come to play. So, we really need these young guys to continue contributing, and I think they will. However, Sunday's game, that one wasn't so good. Big one on Saturday, obviously, but then the 6-2 defeat to the Canucks yesterday was just not good. Now we're 4-5 at home, so under 500. 9-7-2 on the season. We led 2-1 at the end of the second period. Coots scored a first period goal. Coots scored a second period goal. We are leading 2-0. Both goals were actually scored in 5 minutes and 10 seconds of game time apart. So Coots scored towards the very end of the first period. Coots scored not too long into the second. So that's pretty cool. Jake DeBrusk, 7th on the power play, halfway through the second period, cut the Bolts lead at 2-1. But hey, we're going to the third period up 2-1 at home. It's usually a pretty good start for us. Usually we can kind of, maneuver our way into a win. However, that didn't happen. A 5-goal third period from the Canucks blew the game wide open and led them to clinching a 6-2 win. The crazy part was the beginning of the period, right? The first 5 to 6 minutes, everything was pretty chill, and then out of nowhere, 3 goals in a minute and 40 seconds gave the Canucks a 2-1 disadvantage. Well, they went from a 2-1 disadvantage to a 4-2 lead. So when stuff like that happens, it's an issue. It's definitely an issue. Kiefer Sherwood, he had his 12th of the season on the power play. It helped kick off the scoring barrage for the Canucks. They had 2 power play goals too. So, 2 more goals later in the third period sealed the deal. The Bolts offense really struggled against Kevin Lankinen, the goalie for the Canucks. Especially in the third period, they had 17 shots and couldn't make a single one. So, that's not what you want to see at all. Especially when you're trying to get back into a game. JoJo, tough day at the office, man. Only 12 shots saved. 706 save percentage. The 2 power play goals there really didn't do him any favors. It was kind of rough. So, a couple defensemen, though, got in the action. Radish and Chernak each had their 3rd assist of the season. We'll take that. Pointer had his 7th, and Hagel had his 8th. Hagel came back after missing the Panthers win, so he was back in the lineup, which is great. It was really nice to have him back. However, despite having him back, remember the other 6 players, Dominic James, Victor Hedman, Ryan McDonough, Nick Paul, Hannes Holmberg, Andy Sarli, they didn't play in the loss to the Canucks. They did not play. They were not on the ice. So, that's not something you really want to see because these are players that we really need on the ice, right? The sooner we get them back, the healthier. Well, the sooner we get them back, the better. But obviously, we want to make sure they're 100%. And not getting them back at 100% really, really damage those nice playoff dreams that we have. So, Chernak said this post-game. He said, I think the first period was really good for us. We were playing our hockey, and then I don't know what happened in the second. And it's just unacceptable and terrible what happened. We were going to the third period, winning the hockey game, and we lost the game. All the quotes today are from Ben Pierce, Lightning's official team reporter. So, I'm just really intrigued to see what's going to happen after this because, after such a big one Saturday, we just dropped the ball. And Coop actually said this. He compared the loss to Tortoise in the Hare. He said they just kept going and kept trying, and they just kept going, understanding a game is 60 minutes, not 30. And the other team is out too, feeling good about themselves to the point where it's like the Tortoise and the Hare. That's what it was. It was the Tortoise and the Hare. And one team got comfortable, and in this league, the second that happens, you're done. And we got comfortable. They stuck with it, and the right team won the game. That's ultimately it. And so that's what the disappointment is. It is disappointing indeed, right? You're up 2-1 entering third period. You're supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender. The Canucks aren't... they're having a bad year, but they're not exactly on the level of our roster. They just totally hose us in the third period. So, really disappointing turn of events all told. And it shows that some help is needed across the board. Both of today's what-ifs are more offensive help, starting with Mackie Samskovich. So I know we talked about not wanting to trade for Panthers players, but in the scenario we don't hate the Panthers, this wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. 2021 first round pick by the Panthers in his 3rd NHL season. 7-game sit in 2023-2024. That was a cameo, but he really came into his own last year. Played 72 games, 31 points, 15 goals and 16 assists. -4 plus minus. To be expected, most rookies don't have a positive plus minus. Average time on ice, 13 minutes, 19 seconds last year. So not too bad at all for rookie stat. Really stepped up this year in 18 games, though. 14 minutes and 56 seconds of average time on ice, so almost 2 minutes more per game. 9 points already, 2 goals and 7 assists, +2, plus minus. Across the board, Samskovich has looked a lot stronger, a lot better, a lot more dangerous. Like he's grown, which is what you want to see out of a young player like him. At 23 years old, he could be another potential long-term piece to build around, like Gage Konkovitz, like J.J. Moser, Connor Geeky, Dominic James, Jack Finley. All of these young players that we already know we want to try to hopefully build around. Mackie Samskovich would 100% be another one of those types of players. And he's currently on the third line. He's playing right wing for them on the third line. And that's probably where he'd be with the Bolts, to be honest with you. He's going to be an RFA next summer. But you already know the Panthers are certainly trying to make sure that doesn't happen. He doesn't hit the market at all. The question is, if a deal doesn't get done, do they even consider dealing him, despite the fact that, their goal's the three-peat, right? They want to get back and win it all again. So, would they trade him? I mean, if they did, it would be incredibly expensive. But I'm not going to lie. If we did trade for him, it would be fun to see him be like a reverse Carter Verhaeghe. Carter Verhaeghe played for us first few years of his career, went to Florida, and now So, it'd be cool to flip one for a chance. In the 3-1 loss to the Bolts on Saturday, net 0 plus minus, no shots on goal, 60 minutes, 11 seconds of time on ice. So, it's clear that Samskovich is going to be a big piece of what the Panthers are moving forward. However, remember, the free agency deal next summer could be something to look out for. This is another guy that will be a free agent in the next couple of years, and that's Lukas Reichel. So, Lukas Reichel, 2020 first-round pick by the Blackhawks, spent 4.5 seasons with Chicago before being dealt to Vancouver a few weeks ago, actually, not too long ago now. So he's been in Vancouver only about less than a month. 12 games with the Canucks, just an assist and a negative 3 plus minus in 14-22 TOI. So not the best first impression so far, but still obviously learning a bunch of things. Remember, he spent the majority of his career with Chicago until a couple weeks ago. Now he's somewhere else. So the 5 games in Chicago before he left, 2 goals and 2 assists actually, +1 plus minus. But didn't even play 10 minutes a game. So that was kind of interesting to see that his time on ice has continued to go down. Last season was his best yet. It was only 11 minutes, 54 seconds time on ice average. Negative 16 plus minus. Definitely shows a need for defensive improvement. But 22 points, 8 goals and 14 assists in 70 games. Not terrible for somebody his age. The Chicago did acquire a 2027 fourth rounder for Reichel. So would the Canucks look for something similar to get a player like him? And if they did, remember, he'd be joining a pretty deep yet unproven pool of young offensive players like Finley, Saborin, James, Gonçalves, Dylan Duke, Kachuk, Pelletier, Geeky. There's so many guys trying to fight their way through our system and really make a name for themselves. And Lukas Reichel would join that group. So Mackie Samskovich technically, but Samskovich I think has a higher ceiling. I guess the Bolts in the win on Sunday, +2 plus minus, no shots on goal. 10 minutes and 50 seconds of time on ice, so not terrible either. So both these guys would be young, cross-control for a little bit, and really add to this offense, which is great. So tomorrow, it'll be fun one, previewing Devils Lightning round 2. Another what if, a couple other tidbits, including a defensive comparison that I'm sure you guys will be interested to go over. But this is Jordan Llanes signing off. I'll see you all tomorrow. Let's have a good week. Till the next one.